Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel Curiosity Box. The story I am going to read to you is Amelia Falls in Love, written by Laura James. The synopsis of this is: Amelia has enjoyed a fairy tale life, growing up in a castle on the enchanting Scottish island of Arranstay and wanting for nothing, but when circumstances force her to move to London, she is faced with living alone, starting a new job, and perhaps most alarming of all, meeting a gorgeous new man. Will the course of true love run smoothly for Amelia and Archie? Peppered with our heroine's style, tips and recipes, Amelia Falls in Love is a charming tale of life, love and large helpings. It's the perfect story for true romantics, lovers of banana custard, or anyone who believes that the world's ills can be cured with a new pair of shoes, a large bar of chocolate and a hug. So, if you're all sitting comfortably, then I'll begin. Once upon a time, on the fairy tale island of Arranstay, just north of Mull, lived beautiful and slightly ethereal Amelia. Gorgeous and enchanting, she was a cross between a young Audrey Hepburn and Bambi at his most vulnerable. Add to this a generous pinch of good-natured scattiness and a large helping of natural charm, and it is easy to see why Amelia proved irresistible to everyone she met. All her life, Amelia had lived on the island, and she loved every last inch of it. She spent her days wandering the corridors of the tumble-down castle, or walking through the fields playing with the adorable black and white lambs. Often she would simply sit on the shore, staring out towards the mainland, counting her lucky stars that she lived somewhere so utterly charming. Apart from its inability to satisfy her constant craving for new shoes, Arranstay was Amelia's idea of heaven. The village shop sold an unusual array of goods, but the footwear department inexplicably only stocked one pair of purple, size 9 thigh-length waders. Amelia's father, an eminent, if slightly eccentric writer, who had become famous for his biography of an 18th century Russian botanist, bought the island one June afternoon in 1978. It was the day after he had met Amelia's mother. Love strikes in strange ways, and while many feel roses are a perfect token of affection, Amelia's father felt any gift smaller than an island would fail to convey the depth of his passion. Amelia's mother, a world-famous model, gave up her glamorous career and moved to the island. From that day forward, she spent her time caring for Arranstay's population of depressed donkeys, and nursing her husband's writer's block, which she did with unfailing good humour. The couple's happiness was sealed with the arrival of their beautiful daughter. Years passed, and each day Amelia became more delicious. Life on the island was simple, the family surviving on a diet of hugs, vintage Vogue and banana custard. But things were about to change dramatically. Amelia's parents were planning a trip to South America, her father to search for the lost Dudubu tribe, and her mother to bring a little happiness into the lives of Peru's donkeys. After much soul-searching, they had decided not to take Amelia with them. While Amelia's mother was deeply sad at the idea of time away from her beloved daughter, she realised that city life would open Amelia's mind, and possibly her heart, to a world of adventures. And so, one afternoon they sat Amelia down, gave her a huge bowl of custard, and told her of their plan. She would travel to London and take up a position as a personal assistant to the acclaimed artist Sir Douglas MacDougall. She would have a year in London, and then, when her parents returned to Arranstay from Peru, Amelia could, if she so wished, come home. The recipe for the sustaining banana custard had been in Amelia's family for generations. In fact, without it, some wonder whether the family would have survived so long. Once, many years ago, there was a shortage of eggs on the island. Not too big a problem, one might think, but alas, the eggs were very special indeed, produced only by a rare breed of chicken. Without his daily custard fix, Amelia's father found it impossible to work. Paralysed by writer's block, he was like a bear with a sore head. Amelia's mother tried to find some other dish to cheer him up, but it was no good. In the end, after much searching, she managed to track down eggs from similar chickens in Paris, and each Monday morning a delivery made its way to the island. Amelia's father's malaise lifted, and life became normal again. Soon he was even singing in the bath. The island chickens recovered, and custard was soon back on the menu. Amelia began her journey with a heavy heart. Leaving Arunstay had been desperately difficult for her. As she sat in the waiting room at the station on the mainland, however, she found herself being temporarily distracted. Occasionally, shooting her a furtive glance, the most adorable man in the world was sitting opposite. Amelia felt startled. Arunstay offered many wonderful things, but did not normally stretch to delicious men. This was a feeling Amelia was quite unused to. He was divine. Sea-green eyes sat under the sort of quizzical eyebrows that could only belong to someone both charming and intelligent. His nose was perfect, and his mouth was designed for kissing. He seemed about to speak to Amelia, when a voice came over the PA system and announced that the London train was ready for boarding. Amelia bent down to gather her belongings, and by the time she looked up, the man had disappeared. Amelia sighed as she settled into her seat. Not long into the journey, she unpacked a picnic, spread a linen napkin on her lap, and began to eat. Almost immediately, she became aware of something wet and insistent nudging her knee. Looking down, she saw a handsome, if slightly scruffy, Jack Russell. It was love at first sight. Amelia fed the dog a piece of pâté, and stared into his huge, plaintive eyes. He looked so lonely, she immediately felt they were kindred spirits. How the dog had ended up on the train she did not know, but judging by his hunger and unkempt appearance, he was a stray. Her heart filled with love, and she desperately wanted to keep him. A guard arrived and tried to take the dog away, but he began howling and upsetting the other passengers. The terrible noise stopped only when he was allowed to curl up at Amelia's feet. The dog, that is, not God. With 8 hours on the train looming before them, Amelia and the dog she had christened Jim curled up for a nap. Amelia slept fitfully, dreaming of the man she'd seen in the waiting room. The dog slept deeply, dreaming of pâté and walks in the park. When the train arrived, Amelia and Jim walked off into a world of noise and chaos, so different from Arunstay, and began their new life in London.